Mike Borgonzi and the Tennessee Titans have spent the most money so far this offseason. Let's break down all the signings and give my thoughts and opinions next on the Titan Report podcast. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Titan Report podcast. I am your host, Jackson Weber. We got a lot to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk all about free agency. Mike Borgonzi has gone deep into his wallet and spent a lot of money so far this offseason. We're going to give some grades. We're going to talk about some players. Going to give my breakdown, my thoughts. But at the end, we're going to kind of talk about some NFL news and some big signings and trades that happened around the league. So if y'all are new, please like the show. Please subscribe and also share around to other Titans fans. First thing foremost, I apologize. The episode is late. Y'all seen this on Monday morning. I had issues on StreamYard. The audio went down. The camera was not working all day. So that had many issues. I was decided to be like, you know what? I'm going to film it late. I'm going to let StreamYard kind of reset and do its thing over day. And then I'll come back on and do my episode and upload Monday morning. That's the kind of convenience you have to work with technology sometimes, especially I'm my own man. I'm the only one who's doing this. So that's the reason. Now let's get my thoughts about the Tennessee Titans free agency. We're going to start on the offense side of the ball. Start with Rondell Robinson, wide receiver, 4 years, $70 million, $17.5 million AAV. Look, I think this is a very good signing for the Tennessee Titans. He's just 25 years old. He's very familiar with Brian Daboll's system. They go back to New York together. Rondell Robinson was second this year in NFL with slot receiving yards with 622. Rondell Robinson says he can also play on the outside as well. So he's not strictly just going to be a slot receiver. He's going to go on the outside and play some snaps either at the X or either at the Z position. So I think this is a very good signing for the Tennessee Titans. He had 92 receptions last year, which is seventh most in the NFL, 1,014 yards and 4 touchdowns. I do want to say, though, Rondell Robinson at his 60 and he has 69.8 receiving grade. Rondell Robinson was a nice, sneaky receiver for the Giants last year. After Malik Neighbors went down with the torn ACL, Rondell Robinson was the next man up, and he did not disappoint. Also takes the pressure off of Calvin Ridley. The Titans need to upgrade at wide receiver. We kind of said that in the offseason breakdown, and Rondell Robinson fits exactly what the Titans are looking for. You're not overpay him because he was supposed to be making $20 million, $25 million, but $17 million AAV is actually really solid for Rondell Robinson. Again, he joins a wide receiver group that is young and also has a little bit of veteran experience. So with Calvin Ridley staying at the 1, Rondell Robinson, Alec Iamander, and Simi DK at the 3-4, the Titans are going to upgrade at wide receiver again somewhere else, which we'll talk about later. But still, Rondell Robinson is a very good piece on this Titans offense. So the tight end spot, Daniel Bellinger and then Kylan Granson, which means Chika Okonkwo is a free agent. No surprise, the Titans did not re-sign him. So Granson signed a 1-year, $1.4 million deal. And then Daniel Bellinger signed a 3-year, $24 million deal. So that's $8.5 million per year, which tells me that Gunnar Helm is the tight end number 1 right now. Titans were not good run blocking last year, especially from their tight ends. Gunnar Helm was a solid run blocker, but Chika Okonkwo was not a good run blocker last year. Daniel Bellinger's not a guy who's going to get over 300, 400 yards for you a season, but he's going to be a guy who can do the run blocking, who can get the job done, and when he's needed to make some catches in critical situations, he can do that. And Bellinger had 290 receiving yards last year, and he was with Brian Daboll in his time in New York until last year, and now reunites him in Tennessee. One of the things you guys are going to hear me say today is the connections in this free agency class so far with head coach Robert Saleh, offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, and some with defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, and also some with GM Mike Borgonzi. Quarterback Mitchell Trubisky, 31 years old, 2 years, $10 million. $5 million AAV. Makes a lot of sense. The Tennessee Titans need a backup quarterback. This is actually the second signing they made on Monday. Brings a nice veteran experience for Cam Ward. And if he can start in some games, if he needs to, if Cam goes down, he can actually start in some games. We're going to stay with the offense and go with the offensive line. We're going to stay with the offense and go offensive line. Austin Slotman from the New York Giants. Cornell Vlasin from the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the last guy, Austin DeClutius from the Los Angeles Chargers. Slotman is very familiar with not just offensive coordinator Brian Daboll, but offensive line coach Carmen Basilio. They had time together in New York, and Slotman reunites. He did not start last year, and he only started 4 games. He played in all 17, though. I think he's a very solid center. Thing is, he has injury trouble, so if he can overcome those injuries, that's the biggest thing I'm looking for. Cornell Vlasen, who is with the Cincinnati Bengals, signs a one-year deal. Some solid depth on that line. You could never get too much depth on the offensive line, especially at the guard position. And the Titans so far have not re-signed any of their offensive line pieces from last year. And then the last guy, Austin DeCletius, he started in 5 games last year, playing 13 games because of the injuries of both left tackle Joe Alt and also right tackle Rashawn Slater in preseason. Austin had to come in some games. He had to actually fill in, especially after the Chargers backups went down. So Austin went in and started some games for the Chargers. So that's on the offense side of the ball. Let's go to defense and John Franklin Myers, who's easily, I think, the second best free agent signing so far. Look, the Titans need to get help on especially the interior defensive line. They still need help on the pass rush, but the interior defensive line is where they also need help. Last year, they were one of the dead last teams in stopping the run. Him and Jeffrey Simmons sacks last year. So John Franklin Myers and Jeffrey Simmons, they both combined for 20 sacks last year alone, and they both can get to the quarterback. They can both pressure the quarterback. They have a lot of quarterback hits to combine together. So I think it's a very good, nice duo on that defensive line. So $21 million a year makes a lot of sense for me. I know it's a little bit of an uptill in price, but still, for a guy that's about to be 30 years old next year and is still around the same age as Jeff Simmons, that's a very nice duo on that defensive line. And then going to the cornerback position, man, I think the Titans got better at corner. Alontae Taylor for the New Orleans Saints and Cornell Flott from the New York Giants. Alontae Taylor can blitz. He's a good run stopper. I think Alontae Taylor is easily one of the most underrated signings. 3 years, $58 million, $19 million a year. And then you're like, you know what? We're not done at corner. The Titans also signed Cornell Flott. These were in a matter of minutes. Flott last year in 14 games, 38 tackles, 11 assisted, 1 fumble, and 1 interception. 11 passes deflected, 1 interceptions, and 14 games started. 53, that's solid for the new Titans cornerback number 1. And the Tennessee Titans were like, we're not done at corner. Joshua Williams, 2 years, $8 million, $4 million a year. Makes a lot of sense. Again, cornerback number 3. Williams played a lot on the special teams last year, but he can be the cornerback number 3 for the Tennessee Titans. He started in some games. Last time he truly played corner was in 2024, so we'll see if he can make that leap in 2025 and actually could be that cornerback number 3 spot. I really like the depth the Tennessee Titans added, especially with the first guy, Jake Martin, from the Washington Commanders. Last year in 14 games started, 6 sacks, 39 total tackles, and 17 of them were solo. This is kind of like your Arden Key replacement. 2 years, also $9 million, 4.5 per year. Makes a lot of sense. 30 years old with some good depth on your line. And I expect him to start, but I do expect him to fill in that role. And again, the biggest thing with Robert Saleh's defensive line is he rotates guys a lot. He doesn't leave guys in there, especially like on 3 consecutive plays. He rotates a ton. He likes to keep his guys fresh and ready to go. So expect Jake Martin to be in there in a lot of critical situations. Jordan Elliott, who was with Robert Saleh last year in San Francisco, to a 2-year, $8 million deal, $4 million a year. Malik Herring from the Kansas City Chiefs, who can play at edge, who's most likely a depth piece for Jermaine Johnson and Femi Oladejo, to 1 year, $1.25 million a year. So some solid depth on your defensive line. And the Titans signed Mohamed Diabate last year from the Cleveland Browns. A solid, nice number 3 linebacker. Started in 6 games last year, 45 total tackles, 20 of them were solo, 1 fumble. You also signed Jarek Reed back on your safeties. And then at the special team spot, everybody on the special teams are free agents. You got Tommy Townsend for 2 years, $5 million. You brought back Joey Sly in a 1-year deal, and you brought back Morgan Cox. So some solid moves all around free agency. And I think the Tennessee Titans did a great job in free agency, not overspending a lot like we all thought, right? Of course, you're going to have to overspend on 1 and 2 players. That's totally fine with me. If you're going to have to overpay for John Franklin Myers or Alontae Taylor or Cornell Flott, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think all those players have an impact on the roster, especially they fit in Robert Saleh's scheme. I know we didn't get a guy like a Jalen Phillips or Alec Pierce or Tyler Linderbaum, but the Titans spent the most money right. Again, that's the biggest thing I look at. If you're looking at Mike Borgonzi's offseason so far, it's over $313 million as of today, on March 22nd, 2026. And a lot of people are saying the Tennessee Titans have lost the offseason. I think that's false, right? When you think about it, so far the Tennessee Titans have actually had a pretty nice offseason. And I'm looking at it from this year to last year. The top 4 contracts the Titans signed last year were Dan Moore, Cody Barton, Kevin Zeitler, and Draymond Jones. This year, the top 4 guys were Wadner Robinson, John Franklin Myers, Alontae Taylor, and Cornell Flott. That's a very good class for Mike Borgonzi and the Tennessee Titans. Again, I know he didn't get pieces like Tyler Linderbaum and Jalen Phillips and also Alec Pierce, but at the same time, you're getting pieces that fits your scheme. You get guys who are familiar with Robert Saleh. You get guys on the offense who are familiar with Brian Dable. You keep veterans like Calvin Ridley on the team, which makes a lot of sense. And you took a good pay cut. You make a couple trades with Solomon Thomas and Jermaine Johnson. The biggest question I have for Mike Borgonzi is, what are you going to do at your interior offensive line? Do you feel comfortable with Austin Slotman and Jackson Slater maybe competing for that spot? Do you maybe sign Kevin Zeitler back? Do you maybe explore options in free agency like Joe Bitonio, Ethan Poick, or Alex Kappa, for example? Or do you try to draft somebody? So there's a lot of options on the table. Again, if the Titans don't sign somebody before next week, we'll kind of talk about that and deep more dive into the right guard position. But I think you've done a great job adding pieces where you need to be needed. I would give it a B offseason so far. I think that's a very fair grade for Mike Borgonzi. We're not through the draft yet, so I don't want to grade the whole offseason and be like, oh, I have to change it. So we're going to grade the whole offseason later. I think free agency definitely deserves a B for Mike Borgonzi and the Tennessee Titans. They've done a great job so far. They've added talent everywhere, and they're speeding up this rebuild, which makes me have hope for next season. The Titans are doing things like the Patriots did just last season when they only had 4 wins. You hire Mike Vrabel, and then you get the 13 wins, and then you go to the Super Bowl. Am I going to say the Titans are going to get 13 wins? No, but I expect the Titans to get more wins this year. I'm not going to make an early prediction because this is too ridiculous, but I can see the Titans getting way more wins next year. I think the Titans are going to be more of a complete football team next year. I have a lot of hope for this team. I think there's a lot of good things coming. We're not done yet. We still have a lot to do this rest of the offseason. I still expect some signs to come here and there. I'm going to talk about some players so far in free agency, some big moves. And starting out on the defense, Trey Hendrickson, 4 years, $112 million a year. I'm going to talk about some impact players that switch teams. Trey Hendrickson, 4 years, $112 million, $28 million a year to the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Linderbaum went to the Raiders, 3 years, $81 million. Again, I know y'all wanted Linderbaum. I did too. I've said it multiple times, but holy smokes, I'm not paying $27 million a year. Romeo Dobbs went to the Patriots, 4 years, $68 million a year. Then, again, he got the same amount of money as Wan'Dale did. So to be fair, Malik Willis, the Miami Dolphins, 3 years, $67 million. I'm rooting for Malik. I really hope Malik Willis succeeds in Miami. I think he should have gotten some more time in Tennessee. I'll make the argument. And then Odafe Owuwe went to the Washington Commanders, 4 years, $96 million, and $24 million a year. So next week, we're going to talk about the mock draft scenario. So we're going to do 3 mock drafts together. We're going to do one with Jeremiah Love, do one just a regular first-round mock, and we're going to do one trading back. So it'll be a very good episode. Do all my analysis, going to do my recaps, all that stuff, players to watch, and etc. So be a very fun episode. I appreciate y'all for checking out the episode. I hope y'all have a blessed and a fantastic week. Hopefully y'all's March Madness brackets are not ruined like mine. So hope y'all have a good rest of your week, and I'll definitely see y'all in the next episode. Tighten up.